Hey, can we test the microphone on the lives, dude? Just need to test this, make sure it's connected.
Okay. When Jen speaks, she's going to want to move further back. She just doesn't want to be in that close of proximity to people. So just have to put a camera. She'll probably be in the same line of vision, but just back.
Okay.
I got 1,700 in my car.
Okay. Thank you. Just wanted to double check that. Thank you. I'll put it wherever you want.
She'll position herself based on where everybody else settles. So I would say probably on the other side of the Capperno maybe, or that way. This is good. Perfect. So that's good. That's great. Perfect.
Daughter is over there. She has positive COVID. Yeah. You want to take a photo? Go ahead. Never mind, it's live. Okay. What's your... We'll ask for the family to be seated and everyone gather behind the chairs, please. Folks, you're not going to be able to stand here because of the cameras. Please, behind the chairs, please. All the way behind. Folks, I need everyone past the chairs.
You will witness in just a moment Rabbi Millman sprinkling some earth on top of the casket. This is earth that comes from Har HaZeitim, the Mount of Olives, a very sacred and ancient burial site in the land of Israel. And thus everything we do today is to honor Irv's memory and to bring him in contact spiritually with God and to bring him in contact physically with the holiness of our land. Vayoshav ha'afar al ha'aretz k'shahaya. It is that the dust returns to the earth, but we pray that the spirit can live on. May our soul be bound up in the bonds of life eternal, dear God. Send comfort to this family and to all who mourn. Grant them strength, as burden has become their sorrow. Sorrow has become their burden, I beg your pardon. Creator of life, we give you the gift of your spirit and we are formed. You take it in return and we return to dust. Family and friends are ever so grateful for the blessings in Irv's life. We now turn to you seeking comfort and light. Reinforce our faith in you and be a rock and redeemer upon which we may lean. Amen. There is a long passage to be recited at this time called the Tsidukadin, the God of righteousness. It mirrors the blessing that Irv's family recited, the Jen, Michael, and Donna recited as they cut the ribbon that they wear. Just because they're the only ones wearing ribbons doesn't mean that they're the only ones who are mourning, of course, but they have a specific role in observance of a loved one after they've passed on. So in these few moments that I'm going to be chanting this prayer, I ask you to meditate and think and offer your own prayers as we prepare to lay Irv to rest. הצור תמים פועלו כי יכול דרכיו משפט. אל אמונה ועיניו אל צדיק וישר הוא הצור תמים בכל פועל מיום על תפעלה שליט ממט ומעל ממית מחיים מוריד של ויעל. צדיק בכל דרכיו הצור תמים ערך אפיו ממלא רחמים חמן וחוש נלבות ובנים כי לך אדון סליחות ורחמים. אדם אם בן שנה יהיה אלף שנים יחיה מה יתון לו כל יהיה ברוך דיין האמת. מת ומחייב. ידענו אדוני כי צדק משפטך תסתר בדוברך ותזכה בשופטיך ויהיה להר ערך מידת שופטיך צדיקת אדוני וישר משפטך גדול עצב רב הלליה שנק בכוחות על כל דרכי בני אדם לתת לאיש כדרכיו וכפרים על עליו להגיד כי אשר אדוני סורי ולא עוולה תבוא אדוני נתן ואדוני לקח ישם אדוני מבורך והוא רחום יכפר עוון ולא ישחית והרבה להשיב אפו ולא יאיר כל חמתו. A rough translation of that passage is that if a person were given a few years or 1,000 years, it's never enough time. Never enough time when it's somebody that you love so much. The family has, with their courage, blessed you, dear God, by saying, Dayana Emet, that you are the judge of truth, who takes life, but was also the gifter of this sweet and sacred life. We believe that your word is good, but your judgments at times in our lives do puzzle us, God. And that we may brood over the harsh realities of death, we may grow distant from you, but we ask you to be patient with us. For we do place our trust in your righteousness. We accept our lot, and we accept this loss, and we shall do all that we can to hold on to the love that remains within us forever. Dear God, have mercy upon this family. Strengthen them to maintain their courage at this time of sorrow. Amen.
Mizmor leDavid, Adonai roe lo echsar, Binot deshe yarbitzeni, Al mei menuchot yinahaleni, Nafshi yeshovev, Yancheni b'maglei tzedek l'ma'an shemo, Gam ki elech begeit salmavet, Lo yirara ki ata imadi, Shivtecha u'mishontecha, Hema yenachamuni, Ta'aroch lefanai shulchan neged sorerai, Dishanta v'Hashem en roshi kosi revaya, Achtov v'chesed yirtefuni kol yemei chayai, V'shavti beveit Adonai, leorech yamin. The words of the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in straight paths for his name's sake. And yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Kirachem av al banim richam Adonai al yire'av. Ki hu yada yitzrenu zachor ki afar anachnu. Enosh ki chatzir yamav ketzitza sadeh ken yatzitz. Ki ruach avra bo ve'enenu velo yakirenu od mekomo. V'chesed Adonai me'olam ve'ad olam al yire'av. V'tzidkato livnei vanim. A selection of the 103rd Psalm. As a father has compassion for his children, God has compassion for those who show reverence. God knows how we are fashioned. God remembers that we are dust. The days of mortals are like grass. We flourish as the flowers of the field. A wind passes over them and they are no more, and no one can recognize where they grew. But God's compassion is everlasting. God's kindness to children's children, to all the reverent ones, endures age after age, unchanging.
I begin with a poem called A Happy Man by E.A. Robinson. When these graven lines you see, traveler, do not pity me. Though I am among the dead, let no mournful word be said. Children that I leave behind, and their children all were kind. Near to them and to my wife, I was happy all my life. Now with no need of tears, here they leave me, full of years. Leave me to my quiet rest in this region of the blessed. My perception was that Irv was happy with his life, as this person depicts in the poem. Thankful for his parents, Isidore and Deborah. He cherished throughout his life the love of his brothers and their families, Daniel and Ellen, Alan and Maureen, Edward and Linda. He was passionate about his choice of life partner, you, Donna. He was thrilled and proud of his children, Jennifer and Michael, and was blessed with additional 2 more children, Jason and Stephanie. His next generation of sweetness came in the form of being a pa to Isaac, Casey, Brooke, Skylar, Haley, and Paige. Jewish tradition offers this thought, Ezehu Ashir, who is a wealthy man in life? The response is Hasameach Bechalko, a person who can find contentment with their portion. Irv was a kind man who brought kindness and friendship into his world from Cincinnati to Northbrook. His personal reach expanded to friends who, for Irv, became like family. Buddies from his high school and college days, the circle of friends you, Donna, developed in Cincinnati, who are as dear to you today as they were years ago, as well as your newer circle of friends who became vital components to your enjoyment of life when you moved here. The cousins and aunts and uncles were intricate bonds of love in Irv's life upon which he depended. The holidays, such as Thanksgiving, which many of you shared together in Cleveland and still do, is a hallmark of that indispensable closeness. Your family, Donna, was his family, and vice versa. And the pronoun in-law just didn't exist in his vocabulary, you all agreed. Your children's treasured partners, Jason and Stephanie, are exactly like your own children to you, sometimes even more enjoyable to talk with, you teased. How noble were their actions when Irv was so ill recently, coming to the hospital to visit, one of them with coolers of food for you so you should have your nourishment, and the other bringing a guitar and playing music to soothe Irv's spirit. It was so essential for Irv to be amongst family and to teach his children about the importance of family ties that early on in your lives, for Thanksgiving, you told me he would often drive with you to Cleveland, spend a short stint celebrating the holiday with the family, but then take a bus back to Cincinnati to open up the store. For his commitment to the welfare of the store's success was also paramount to him. Fox's Clothing, a family business that sold clothing for the whole family. Later on, it did specialize, you taught me, as well with school uniforms and nursing scrubs and other attire. Fox's had been passed down through 3 generations. His grandfather, who opened the store, his father and uncle, who took over, and then Irvin, his cousin. This consistency in the business meant a lot to him, he treasured family first and foremost. I was touched when I visited Irvin the hospital and saw the gallery of pictures that had been drawn for him by his grandchildren. They too have learned the sweetness of having their pa and what family really means. They will recall his passion of reading to them and with them, a tradition which you told me began with him reading to you, Jennifer and Michael, when you were young. Jen, you recalled that it was The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. There were 2 books in particular you recall your dad reading to you, trying to indoctrinate you both into the passion of sci-fi stories. Irv loved fantasy, but in the realm of reality, he knew he had 2 children who could not have been any more perfect for him and you, Donna. How proud he was of each of you, and the support you received from your father was immeasurable. Be it on the sports fields, where he was your biggest and loudest cheerleader, and self-appointed assistant coach from the sidelines. In life, he cheered on your decisions and your choices, even when a couple of them were antithetical to the ones he may have made for himself. If your behavior was out of line, you said he might offer you a pachon yituchas, but you would come to learn, as you spoke with him over the years, that the adage, "It hurt me more than it hurt you," was likely true. He taught you through life by word and by deed. He talked the talk, and he walked the talk. And I'd like to invite you, Michael, now to talk about your father.
My dad was an amazing person. From an early age, he always had been my role model and my hero. He not only taught me how to be a man and a good father, but more importantly, he taught me why it was important to be both. He was caring, he was loving, he was hardworking, devoted, and a true friend to many. But if I had to use one word to describe my father, it would be unconditional. He did everything in his life unconditional. His beliefs were unconditional. His passions were unconditional. His spirituality was unconditional. But most of all, his love for his family and friends was unconditional. were an old friend or a new, he loved you equally. It didn't matter if your last name was Fox, Gallup, Zavell, Schwartz, Rollins, Olson, Salkin, or something else. He loved and cared for us all as family. But most of all, my dad loved my mom, my sister, me, and his grandchildren unconditionally. He loved my mother as much on their 50th wedding anniversary, if not more, as he did on their first. He never missed an opportunity to tell Jenny or me how much he loved us, nor an opportunity to remind us how proud he was of us. And as I watched him play, sing, and read to his grandchildren, you couldn't help but see the love and pride shine through. My dad was a man defined by his unconditional love for his family and friends. From an early age, I knew I was lucky to be part of something so special, but only as I grew up did I realize how truly lucky I was, as I began to quickly realize this unconditional love, caring, and support wasn't always typical in every family, as I just assumed it was. These attributes, unconditional love, caring, closeness, and support, are my dad's true legacy. One that he passed on to Jenny and me, which you're now instilling in our families, and has resulted in the closeness between us all that I don't take for granted. Dad, as I looked at you earlier this morning, I was overtaken by a profound sense of sadness for the fact that I'll never get to hear you sing another song. Watch another Bengals game with you, debate conflicting perspectives, or just get another hug. But no matter how devastating these thoughts may be, I wouldn't trade even a single second of all our amazing times you and I had to relieve the pain I feel today. Because those are the memories I hold closest and I will carry with me forever. Dad, thank you for always being there for me. Thank you for always loving me, especially during the times I wasn't easy to love. Thank you for always supporting me in every decision I made, regardless of your beliefs. Thank you for helping guide and teach me, even when I didn't realize you were. And thank you for caring for and about me more than I'm sure I'll ever know. Rest in peace, Dad. I love you.
As we met and talked, I never contemplated how Irv would feel about a Steelers fan officiating at his service. Bengals have it better than we do this year, though. When we spoke of a title for your dad's biography, words came out such as mensch, life, love, and family. But you kept coming back to that one word, unconditional. After hearing your words the other day, Michael, and which you so eloquently related just now, I took the liberty of writing a short parody of a song for Irv. You said he loved music. He loved Peter, Paul, and Mary. He loved Simon and Garfunkel, and he loved show tunes. You mentioned how he would sing you lullabies at night, and he'd sing throughout the day, often at the top of his lungs. Then you wisecracked, he thought the whole world was his stage. So for him, I offer a song. Unconditional, that's what Irv is, in so many ways for his wife and kids. As a friend, you could always count on him. As your dad, you learned by watching him. Never before has someone been more unconditional. in his abundant pride, and in how he loved his cherished bride. That's why, Irv, we come to sing your praise. You made us feel loved every single day. That's why you are unforgettable too. Unconditional, devoted to business, synagogue, family, the happy hour crew. That's why Irv will love you forevermore. We'll miss you at family dinners, trips, and oh so more. You're everything we needed. We love you unconditionally too. Jen, you stated to me the other day that your father would offer some reoccurring parental directives to you as a child. Because I said so. Look it up in the World Book. I'm tired. You should go to bed. And because she's your mother, and thus you will respect her. And you do deeply respect your mother, both of you. Donna, you were the epicenter of the house, and Irv wanted you to remain the peacemaker. And he wanted to be the peacemaker between you and the kids. I apologize. You've celebrated long years together. He was 23, you were 21. He had graduated University of Cincinnati with his bachelor's degree in science and in business. And then you would come to absorb each family's as your own. As I said, your friends became his and his yours. Well, maybe not his seniors enjoying life's card club. That may have been off limits to you. You said he really found enjoyment during Monday lunches and canasta pinstripes with the rest of the gentlemen. But he did also enjoy your cooking as well, and he would tell you so, very often complimenting whatever you had prepared for dinner. And as I hear it, Irv liked a good meal. He liked eating in general. You said he preferred steak dinner, but then Jen testified that one needed to be quite guarded over their ice cream if he was close by. And he often, you said, ate quickly. But Donna, you defended him by saying he was one of 4 boys. He had to eat quickly to get his share. You defended him, you watched over him, and you advocated for him until the very end, Donna. So loving and so kind. I'd like to invite you to offer your words, if you would, please.
Irv was the oldest of 4 sons. His brothers are Dan, Alan, and Ed. His grandparents and his parents, Debbie and Izzy, shared their love of Judaism with him throughout his life. We met at the University of Cincinnati and married over 50 years. We joined his family's synagogue, Congregation Ohav Shalom. There were so many extended Fox families with aunts, uncles, and cousins. I often thought that the real name was Fox Gallup Ohav Shalom. We lived in Cincinnati for 42 years and shared all the joys of parenthood with our precious children, Jennifer and Michael. Irv was in love from day one with his Jen, who we referred to as Sis, and his son Michael, referred to as his monkey. His pride spilled over in everything that they did. We moved to Chicago 9 years ago to be with our growing families. We, Pa and Mima, would always tease our children that our decision to move from Cincinnati to Chicago was all about the grandchildren. But each of them knew that they were included when we referred to our grandchildren. Our precious Jen and Jason, and Michael and Stephanie, with our incredibly wonderful growing families. Family was always the world to Irv. Pa adored his 6 beautiful and handsome, silly, funny, loving grandchildren, Isaac, Casey, Skylar, Brooke, Haley, and Paige, who's at home taking her nap. As he joined in such fun, playful, fully beaming with pride as he observed the beautiful parenting skills, as well as the 2 families consistently interacting and bonding. Oh, our beautiful family of 12. Irv was a hands-on pa who loved having special days with each of our amazing grandchildren. With love and pride, he celebrated our children's weddings, our grandson Isaac's recent bar mitzvah, holidays, birthdays, Shabbat dinners, family vacations, babysitting, sleepovers, and so many fun weekly joys. Irv's Judaism was always an important part throughout his life. He was an avid reader and enjoyed traveling. He loved to sing and seemed to know the words from every line of every song. He was known to sing in my ear when we were dancing, singing goodnight songs to his children and grandchildren, ending often with Shema. Irv had many medical issues, but never let them define who he was or stop him from enjoying life. He was blessed with his loving family, his dear, close Cleveland extended family, and forever old friends from Cincinnati, and welcoming new friends in Chicago. For those of you that are here and on internet somewhere out there, I just want you to know that we all feel your arms wrapped around us. He was gentle, strong, fun, a wonderful provider for his family, kind beyond a fault, and always gave people the benefit of the doubt. He was a true mensch. Irv held my hand through life and will always be the love of my life. May you rest in peace. Amen.
"2021 wasn't the best of years. The world was yet infected by viruses that have taken a multitude of lives. Political lines are drawn as deeply in the sand as the year prior. Climate change affects unknown proportions of the world whose effects cannot yet be calculated. And now, Irv leaves us. Those of us at Beth Shalom all agree that Irv was a very likable man. A solid handshake, a nice greeting could always be anticipated when he was in the room with us. Many of you will recall much of what was said today, and so much more that has been left unsaid. Jen has words to add to the tribute, of course, and we'll listen to her now.
Sounds kind of familiar, right, to what Mike and Mom said, but I've been thinking about my dad a lot in the past few weeks. Probably a lot more than I usually take in time to do as an adult. I think
Unfortunately, we don't always take the time to say the things that we should to the ones that we love. We take moments together for granted, knowing there will always be another Shabbat dinner, another Halloween, another Thanksgiving, another normal Sunday afternoon, until there suddenly isn't. I hope you'll bear with me as I take this moment to say a few things to my dad that I probably never expressed all at once, but I hoped I showed him and he knew in his heart about how much he meant to me and the importance he held in my life. Mike, you said the word that came to mind was unconditional, and when I think of Dad, the word that keeps coming back to me is devoted. And as I listen to both of you and Cantor Store speak, I also think of the word constant. Dad was both devoted and he was constant. He was constant in his beliefs and in his presence in our lives. Dad, you're always devoted to Mom, to me and Mike, as a family. Sorry, can't see. Giving us a childhood that was unique and special, as well as your unconditional support, respect, and guidance, even as adults, and teaching us to remain close to each other. You are always constantly there for us. And I know the rest of your family and friends feel the same way. You and Mom have made multi-decade lifelong friends. And this type of friendship is something that is earned. Your devotion to your friends spans generations. Even your kids are friends, and some of them are here today. And I want to let you know that this is something I always admired about you. The outpouring of support and photos and memories that people have been sharing with us, stories about trips to visit far away, playing weekly cards and dinners with friends, teaching nephews how to ride a bike, and conversations over a Thanksgiving morning breakfast, and taking cousins to the zoo. They're all overwhelming and beautiful. You have so many people who love you. And I think that's the measure of who you are as a person. When I think of myself as your daughter, the word I think of is gratitude. Here are just a few of the things that I personally am grateful to you for. When I was a kid, you had the arms that made everything feel better just by giving me a hug. You set the standards that I measured myself against, even when I railed against them and argued with you about them. I was still trying to prove myself right in your eyes. You shared your love with so many things with me, as been mentioned, reading science fiction and fantasy, trying new stinky or weird food. Not only did Dad love a good steak, he also loved the anchovies on his Caesar dressing and was proud when he tried octopus. Swimming, your love of singing along to songs and watching musicals. I used to wish and hope that people on the street would break out into song and dance. I still kind of do, and I totally credit you for that. You were the one who taught me how to work hard, even when you didn't want to or like it, because you were devoted to providing to your family and your parents' own legacy. You were the one who taught me how to touch my tongue to my nose, how to give the best back rubs, that soccer and softball were actually about playing the game and not just picking flowers, how to plan a trip and take enjoyment in the planning, how to lead parts of the Passover Seder, how to sit quietly in shul, and how to respect and honor my mom. You showed me by example how to be a genuine, interested, and kind, even with strangers, and end up making friends everywhere you go and keeping friends for a lifetime. You were the one who sang me to sleep every night until I got too old to let you. You were the only one who ever called me sis. When I became an adult, you were the one who packed my stuff and helped me move countless times, and then years later moved yourself to the Chicago suburbs so you and Mom could be close to myself, Jason, Mike, Steph, and the kids. You and Mom were the ones who showed me what a true partnership looked like and helped me set my standards on what qualities I wanted in my own husband. And you embraced Jason as your own son. You were the one who taught me I would be a more fulfilled person if I could be brave and reinvent my own career. And you supported all of my choices, even when I quit a job before having another one, and even when you didn't understand what I actually did for work. You still trusted me and helped me feel like I was not failing. You were the one who shared your faith and traditions with me. You were someone who helped me learn hard lessons, like I don't always have to be right. And sometimes it's okay to be angry with the ones you love, because they will still love you. You were the one who would sing my kids to sleep at night, throw them up in the air when they were young, even when it made us cringe, and give them their own special nicknames. You are the one who taught me, as I watched you struggle over the past few years, that strength is not about having the loudest voice, but it's about bouncing back from myriad health challenges, taking one step at a time, and being present for the moments, and sometimes getting the last word in at the Shabbat dinner table. You were the one who showed me that retirement, even the quiet kind, was something to be celebrated and embraced. It's something I wish you could have done for yourself and Mom a lot sooner. You are the one who could still make a lot of my world better just by giving me a hug. And you will be the only one who will ever call me sis. I miss you more than I know how to put into words. I see you in glimpses in my kids. It sees eyebrows and facial expressions, his love of food, dislike of small talk, and his spot in the reading chair. In Case's passion for fantasy novels, his insightfulness while reading, and his talent for great backgrounds. And in Tiny's confidence that she does not have to be on the stage to sing her heart out at any moment. I'm sorry that it took me so long to tell you all of this. I'm sorry for any of the times that I was not fully present in my moments with you. Going off script for a moment. Like the song that used to sing to Mike and me at bedtime, Leaving on a Jet Plane, was one of your favorites. The last verse says, now the time has come to leave you. One more time, just let me kiss you. Then close your eyes and I'll be on my way. Dream out the times to come, but I won't have to leave alone. About the times that I won't have to say. Kiss me and smile for me. Tell us that you'll wait for us and hold us like you'll never let us go. You're leaving on a jet plane, and oh Dad, we hate to see you go. I hope your memory always continues to be a blessing to me, our family, and everyone who knew you. I love you so much, Dad. Love you guys.
You will continue to reminisce of his omnipresence at Ahav Shalom in Cincinnati, the extensive work that he did from being in the kitchen to coming to Minyan on Thursday mornings before he would head to the office, You'll remember him sitting on committees and being a schlepper if they needed one. How fondly he recalled always the rabbi and Hank, the executive director with whom he was so close. Not every shul goer has their own bagel named after them. His happy hour crew, the 3 p.m. Central Time on Saturdays, was truly the happy hour of his week. How he loved, you said, connecting with his brothers and cousins from Oregon to Cincinnati, Arizona, Florida, Maryland, and even reaching to Denmark. I can't do justice to explaining how close and unconditionally devoted he felt to his cousins and his extended family. At least one good thing has come out of the COVID era, Donna added, learning how to stay touch even over distance. Using the idea of distance as a segue of thought, you recalled for me how Irv loved to arrange, to plan, and to execute family trips. He would pre-MapQuest and pre-Google Maps and pre-GPS systems pick up his AAA triptychs and chart out the course of your adventure. How proud he was when all things came to fruition. Each and every family vacation was memorable. Maybe all the more were the ones seemingly planned by Chevy Chase. I shall finish with this thought and poem. Peace, my heart, let the time for the parting be sweet. Let it not be a death, but completeness. Let love melt into memory and pain into song. Let the flight through the sky end in the folding of the wings over the nest. Let the last touch of your hands be gentle like the flower of the night. Stand still, O beautiful end, for a moment, and say your last words in silence. I bow to you, and I hold up my lamp to light you on your way. As we recite Kaddish, please know that one reading of tradition says about the soul that it does not leave the proximity of the body until it hears the first words of Kaddish being recited, knowing that its life partner, the body, has been respectfully cared for and laid to its eternal rest. And so too with the words of Kaddish, we will light the path for Irv's soul to ascend to heaven. And as it does on this Friday afternoon, he shall pass other angels who are descending from heaven to spend Shabbat with us here on earth, to lift our spirits and our souls with the holiness of Shabbat. We sing Shalom Aleichem, and we chant to the angels who come to be with us, to come in peace. And we say Tseitcha L'Shalom. We say to the soul, to the neshama of Irv Fox, as he begins his final road trip with no triptych needed, for it is our prayers that shall guide his way. We offer these words of Kaddish. I invite the family to stand, please. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah ve'alma divra kiruteh ve'yamlech malchuteh v'chaye echon u'v'yom echon u'v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'v'zman kariv ve'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevarach la'alam u'lalmei almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh V'yithadar, v'yitale, v'yitalal, Shemei Kudsha B'rechu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata, Da'amiran ba'alma, De'imru, Amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shmaya, V'chayim aleinu, V'al kol Yisrael, De'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom, B'imramav, Hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, Imru. Amen. We're going to invite the gentleman here at graveside to assist us in the lower end of the casket. You may be seated. I invite you to sing the words of Shalom Aleichem, the prayer of peace. Yes. The prayer of peace. As I mentioned, they're prayers to the angels of heaven. We know Irv is now one of those angels. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom, Malachi HaShalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachi HaShalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seirchem l'shalom, Malachi HaShalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In the final moments before the casket is covered by the vault cover, we listen to the words of the memorial prayer, the Malay, which the rabbi will lead us and translate for us, and then offer us direction as to how we can participate in the sacred act of laying Irv to his rest.
El Malay Rachamim Shochein Bamromim Hametzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei HaShechina B'ma'alot Kedoshim Utorim Kezohar Arakia Mazirim Et Nishmat Chaim Michiel Ben Yitzchak Udevora Shalach Leolamo Began Eden Tehei Menuchato Ana Baal Rachamim Hastireu B'seiter Kenafecha Leolamim Utzror B'tzror Chaim Et Nishmato Adonai Hu Nachalato Ve'anuach Ve'shalom Al Mishkavo Ve'nomar Amen. Exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure. To Irv's soul who has gone to his eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that our loved one find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. May he rest in peace. Amen. In just a moment, when the staff here at the cemetery have finished their tasks, we're going to invite you to come forward and place measures of earth into the ground. Jewish tradition tells us that this is the ultimate act that we can do for a loved one, where we completely give of ourselves, knowing that we expect nothing in return. Tradition tells us that we place 3 measures of earth into the ground, and then we replace the shovel back into the earth. Each person should be able to take on this act voluntarily, and then we don't want to pass our sorrow from one person to another. The number 3 is significant in Judaism, for it shows our intention in doing something, even in a sad moment such as this. So in just a moment, we'll begin with those seated in the front row to come forward and invite all those who wish to help participate in the burial. Once we've completed the shoveling that we'll be doing, we're going to ask all those of you who are standing to help us form 2 parallel lines, I would say on the opposite sides of the wood boards that the pallbearers walked across. This is what's known as a shura, literally a line in Judaism, and it is that point that members of the immediate family will walk through. That marks the switch from doing all that we can for Irv to now focusing on taking care of the family as best we can at this moment in time. And that is not to say that we forget Irv, God forbid, but that we've done all we can, and our attention shifts slightly the needs of our immediate mourners. And to state the obvious, as you come forward around the grave, but please do be careful. It's slippery, it's a little wet, and we just don't want anybody to have an accident. And there are 2 shovels, so you're welcome in a moment to make use of both sides. Oh, sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we come closer, we're going to let the family shovel, then we're going to let Jen come forward so she feels safe and comfortable, and then we'll fight you, please.
Anyone else who'd like to come forward, please do so.
Is that what you're seeing on the
everybody had an opportunity, if you wish.
Everyone here except for the immediate mourners to please come this way. We're going to form a corridor, an aisleway on the other side.
On the right. Ma'am.
As the family begins to walk through, we offer them the traditional words given to mourners at this time. We say, Hamakom Yenachem Etchem Betoch Sha'ar Avelei Tzion V'Yerushalayim. May God comfort you among the mourners of Zion at this difficult time in your lives. And you can break the line behind them, everybody. Thank you.